I guess I'll make this an update video. So there's a long video to precede this. It's a new series I've started. Why people laugh at atheists. And so this is volume 4, and Great Text will be a starring player. So anyway, 1, 2, and 3 are on the website. I've also started an economics series, how it works, and so up to volume 2 on that. This volume 2 video is good. The volume 1 is but the volume 2 is pretty good. So if you watch volume 2 and you like it, you probably should watch volume 1 because it'll explain volume 2 in a way. And then I did starting this whole people series, how they work. I don't know how far you can go with that. Volume 1, and it kind of just says it all. So anyway, but yeah, the first Laughing at Atheists was the Thunderfoot, and then the second one was probably Spider-Man or somebody. Something, I don't know. I can't remember exactly. It'd be a surprise. It's good. Surprises are good, right? Then I did a good video on the cults on YouTube. I think it was a good video. I mean, it was a really, I thought, a thoughtful and considerate description of the fact that we're all stuck in this, with this cult tag in some way or another. It's a cult of personality, a cult of something, and people are. It's a lonely world, and people connect to each other, and so there's nothing you can do about that. You can't undo that. The Amazing Atheist, you could say, is he probably gets a ton of PMs from little fat loser kids saying, "Oh, TJ, could you're the greatest," and blah blah. He probably gets a whole bunch of that. Is that his fault? I mean, you're going to call him a willful, deliberate cult? Well, he is in a sense that, he totally takes advantage of them, but he doesn't try to. I mean, you can't say he's overtly taking advantage. Well, I don't know. Maybe he is. So maybe that's a bad example. But the truth is you can't do anything, about the fact that people are going to connect you to you in lots of different ways. And if you're going to point the cult finger, then you should point at people who are more deliberately manipulative. The people that do have intros, the people who do have a style thing, and they do this deliberate, like, "Hi, YouTubers." Do this kind of, "Hi, YouTubers," blah, blah, play the game like they are a cult of a personality. All right? So just be fair in your accusations. Because, every one of you people talking, you get PMs from people who identify with you as a person rather than exactly what you are saying. And that's the truth. So don't play this game, and don't be crucifying other people because that circumstance is part of their circumstance on the internet. And and you're being so unfair to all these people who identify or who share a common philosophy, because they have no choice but to somehow separate themselves from the philosophy, to defend themselves from the accusation of being called a sheeple. I mean, what the fuck is that? You're not attacking me, you're attacking them. And it's just really unfair. Really unfair and disgusting. And you should be ashamed of yourselves. Nasty bastards. Fucking atheists. God, atheists suck so bad. So anyway, I did the response video. That was already okay. Interview, that was the Feta interview video. I think, okay, this is the last. Alright, so yeah, the cults on YouTube was the first one. So there's 7 new videos on the website. And now we'll move on to the video. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of videos. And they're long videos, too. Sorry, but look, I'm probably going to take some time off, so you'll have something to do when I take some time off. Alright, we're up to 4 already. Wow, there's a lot of friggin' laughable atheists in the world, especially on YouTube. But this one's probably going to be a multiple award winner. The Great Text, excuse me, Gratex. Yeah, so he's back on this value thing. So there's these atheists, right? So they can't figure out that there's something intrinsically valuable in the world. They think it's all a preference. It's all like the difference between vanilla and chocolate ice cream, or blowjobs versus whatever. They all think it's just some sort of, what do I personally prefer, or what do I think's cute? How attractive is it? They think it's all just some kind of subjective taste of a sentience conditioning. And they don't think there's anything of intrinsic value. So they think everything out there in the world is just judged by some bigotry or prejudice, and that nothing is of itself valuable. So I'll equate it to, I mean, you know, the obvious response is anybody who has a brain can figure out that a sentient creature itself is what creates value. Its welfare is the only thing that has value in the universe. I mean, that's kind of apparent. I mean, you kind of, you know, it's a fact that just kind of falls on you the minute you're conscious and you wake up on planet Earth and you say, what's important? Oh yeah, it's important that I don't feel bad, and it's good that I feel good. I mean, it's just kind of an obvious thing. But yeah, let's say we were space travelers and we came across two planets, and one had sentient life on it and one had no sentient life on it. And it would be kind of obvious which planet was important, which one you had to kind of worry about or analyze or discover about, because one of them had a welfare involved. One of them, there was something that mattered, okay? And the other one has matter, but it doesn't matter because there's nothing feeling anything. And so feelings, it isn't complicated to say that feeling organisms are the source of value. They don't artificially ascribe value. They do personally as individuals, but they themselves generate value. And so when things have value, they have value because they have an effect on the welfare of sentient beings. They don't have value because somebody loves them or cares about them. They have value because they have an impact on things that can feel. That's how everything else derives its value. That's it. It's not complicated, but they want to make it complicated because they want to justify some sort of equity between their desires and every other value definition. It's just an attack basically against the logic of utilitarianism. They don't want to accept the responsibilities of adult existence and instead wish to abolish the existence of any real core to value so they can just do what they want without having the impediment of some accusation that they have behaved unethically or indecently or irresponsibly or selfishly. They want to negate the fact that there's any value definition that goes beyond any of those useless character attributes. Something like that. So let's play some of this crap and have a laugh. Alright, so in the first part here that I'll skip across, he holds up a mouse and talks about its value. Of course, it only has value to sentient beings, of course. It can only impact them. It can make them happy or make them sad, make their life easier, make their life harder. Then he talks about tripping. When I was a kid, I tripped, and blah, blah, blah. It meant one thing, and I trip now, it means something else. Well, every situation's different, and how much, but, you know, if you get brain cancer, it's going to be brain cancer. And everybody knows that brain cancer is not a good thing. No one has a good time having brain cancer, so let's not play a game that's subjective, because it's not subjective. It's an absolute fact that there is this thing called suffering, and human organisms and other sentient beings experience it, and it's not a good thing. It's a negative thing. In and of itself, intrinsically, as a generated condition or state of being. It's not good to feel like shit. Not complicated. See, this is complicated. We can't write that in stone. It's not good to feel like shit. I'm going to have to argue with atheists about that fact, and they're going to complain about how stupid creationists are? Oh, creationists are stupid. They're believing in a fairy tale. These assholes can't figure out that it isn't, not necessarily good or bad, to feel like shit. Feeling like shit is somehow good. Because one person in every 10 billion years feels like shit and says, man, I love this. I love feeling like shit. Fuck.
Doesn't have value because of those things. Excuse me, sentience applies those values to those things. And if that's the case, whenever a value judgment is made, no, I'm even going to explain it, I'm going to describe it even more close to it, because that's just objects. But when it comes to sensations, values also apply to the sensations by sentience. If I stub my toe, for example,
we'll skip over this.
A pain response that's sensed by the body, sent up the nervous system to the brain, and then the brain generates a
I'm going to jump ahead, but I mean, obviously, they always use these examples of stub my toe. They don't use when I, take a pencil and stick it in the center of my eyeball. They never use some sort of real world, obvious, that side of the fence example. I mean, don't hold up a mouse, hold up a cat, and explain how it's entirely subjective whether or not it's a good thing that you slowly crush the cat in your hand. That's a subjective determination. There is no absolute, obvious, negative implication of you crushing the cat while it is sentient and has to experience the crushing pain of being squished. Yeah, there's no logic you can escape this with. And how is anybody who says that there's some sort of doubt about the fact that there will be an intrinsically negative value created in the process of the cat suffering? How could somebody arguing against that truth be any more ludicrous than any silly creationist theory? How could the theory that the cat suffering has no meaning, no real value, just some sort of made up, I like banana cream pie bullshit, there's no, if one is laughable, the other's laughable.
Value based upon that pain, and that value may be different from other values that's generated for the same amount of pain previously. For example, if I'm running to the door and I stub my toe,
you're still talking about stubbing fucking toes.
Because I have placed a higher value upon answering the door.
Oh,
whereas
pitiful.
When I was 5 years old and I stubbed my toe.
Oh, jump ahead. Can't even hear the fucker.
But if you want to say that values are intrinsic, then you can say so. But you have to kind of give an explanation as to how and why this occurs.
Well. Look, the explanation is kind of obvious. It's a manifestation of what happens when something becomes conscious. We can tell the difference between conscious things and unconscious things. This intrinsically cannot generate value because it cannot intrinsically be put in a positive or negative state. This, on the other hand, this consciousness can be put in a positive or negative state. It can be put in that state of being. It can be put in a state of... stupid damn people. I'm going to have to take some people out of my index with the damn autoplays. This doesn't work for me. I don't got time to rewrite the scripts to avoid this shit. Gosh, could you please talk? You can't make a video where he talks. There, see, now he's going to compare an Earth rock to a moon rock, and then say he's making a rational argument about the fact that everything is just arbitrary in terms of its value. Well, of course, the difference between a moon rock and an Earth rock is just arbitrary. It just has to do with whether or not you value rareness, or whether you value how far away it came from, or whether you value that it has a surface that hasn't been eroded by water and other things, or some other kind of silly, arbitrary, non-meaningful description of its substance. I mean, all those descriptions of its substance would have to, the only way you could make distinctions would be semi or substantially non-meaningful. Now, if you had two rocks and one of them was covered in smallpox and one of them wasn't covered in smallpox, you might have a more reasonable comparison to make, because you could say, well, one rock is totally benign and the other rock is potentially going to harm the sentient character, welfare of a bunch of sentient beings. And now you would have a value equation that would be a lot more difficult for you to say is arbitrary. This is no longer arbitrary. It's no longer erroneous. It's perfectly rational because it's based on something real, which is the welfare of sentient creatures. They generate value. Their welfare is the source of value. How many times do I have to repeat that? And how many times do you have to evade and ignore it? Let's see.
And my explanation is, well, humans value the
I can't make it any louder. I got everything turned up all the way.
value as such, and so on. But saying values are intrinsic to things doesn't cover.
Saying value is intrinsic to the wealth is generated inside the sentience of a sentient creature. To say that, he says, doesn't cover it. So this is atheism. Here we go. They don't know what a value is. So apparently, I mean, at least they're doing a little. I mean, at least the Christians are doing a little bit better. At least they have some concept that there's value in the world, and that there's things that need to get done and things that should be avoided for a good reason, because God says so at least. But these fucked-hearted atheists can't even figure out that there's value in the universe. Wow. I mean, yeah, it'd be funny if it wasn't like the most important thing in the world, value, right? The biggest, most important thing in the universe, value, and they can't get that right. I mean, that would be funny. I mean, if it wasn't just so fucking pitiful.
Really anything. And to me, I'm not even thinking about it. But
mumble through a whole fucking video.
If you accept that
Now
value
yell.
judgments are generated by sentient brains, then whenever you make a value judgment...
Yeah, see, value judgments are generated in sentient brains. Again, this is not the argument. The argument is that their sentient brain creates a condition of value. Okay, either a good condition or a negative condition. It exists in those conditions. Can't you ever get any argument correct? Ever?
It's generated by your brain, and as such isn't truth. It's truth as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, again, argue subjective values. No one's defending subjective values. No one's defending somebody saying, boy, that girl is hot, and therefore she is actually absolutely hot. That's stupid. No one's defending your subjective attachments as declarations of value. What is being stated is that the cat's welfare, a living cat in your hand, in your right hand, and a dead cat in your left hand, means that what you do to the left-handed cat and what you do to the right-handed cat is decidedly different things are going to happen. That's where the value is quite obvious. There needs to be a difference in the treatment to the right-handed cat than the left-handed cat, and that is an absolute fact. And the fact that there needs to be a difference in the treatment is a expression of the fact that the living cat can feel and be put in a positive or negative state of conscious being. I mean, can you believe? I can't believe I'm having to explain this. What the hell is going on in your brain that you cannot figure this out?
It doesn't apply to all things. Like if you value moonrock as 0, then it doesn't mean that moonrock is valued as 0. It just means it's valued as 0 for you.
Yeah, well, again, nobody's talking about moon rocks. Who are you arguing with that is arguing that this is an argument about some sort of non-welfare thing, right? That there isn't some argument about the welfare of humans or animals or something with sentience? Are you going to argue that you're counter-arguing against somebody who's arguing about arbitrary values? I don't think you are. Values of things not relevant to whether or not people live happily or people live miserably? Is there somebody making an argument for some absolute value that doesn't affect sentient creatures?
Okay.
I mean, it's just for its generic welfare, you could say that, we can go down the list of the things. Like I said, I could just say smallpox, and I could say it's pretty good. It's a pretty good probability that there's absolutely no doubt that smallpox is not a good thing to have around. That value definition or description would be really, really reliable. Okay, I mean, the conviction of that criminal would be really, really reliable. There'd be little possibility that smallpox had some sort of positive effect in the overall welfare of the human race. That it would cause more negative conditions in human beings and more suffering, and there'd be very little, if any, kind of gain. I mean, there might be some gain in having less population, and so some argument like that could be made, but if you add up the suffering imposed, you'd be better off just sticking knives in people's heads than imposing smallpox on them.
So say, for example, you say it's better to have never been born. Better is a statement of value relative to something else, and as such, it's subjective.
Well, whatever. Relative to the fact that sentience has value. So again, you can't say relative to something else. Relative to the most important thing in the universe, which is the welfare of sentient beings.
And created by a sentient being. Now, it's a value created by someone else, but it resonates with you. That doesn't then make it truth because you've corroborated with someone else.
Well, that's just a silly accusation. So I'll just say you cooperated with the fucking lice on your fucking in your pubic hair. You corroborated with them and agreed that you're both assholes and that you contrive silly arguments to evade responsibility. No one's making that argument. So again, this is just grotesque straw man nonsense. So this is what atheists do on the internet. They can't deal with a face-to-face argument. They can't, again, quote people accurately and in context. All they can do is misparaphrase and make a fake argument to a fake standard. So bravo. No courage.
It just means you share the same value as someone else as far as being born is concerned. Or at least you value arguing with you that way as much as the other person does.
Yeah, right. Or you make a whole argument explaining how this is basically the function of the device. You make an argument for evolution, affirmative argument for the fact of evolution, and the real consequences of it. Basically that it's a negative mechanism that dupes a bunch of sentient organisms into conducting themselves in a less than productive manner, and therefore it's better not to have been, just because binning is going to just end up being a zero-sum or negative game. No, but let's just discount that argument and pretend it's about some subjective personal impression. They just said, they took a lick of it, and they said, what does it taste like? No, that's not how it works. Blubber brain.
Do you attribute value to arguing at this point? It doesn't necessarily mean that it is better for you to have not been born, or it's better for everybody to have not been born. It just means...
Yeah, you attribute value to argument. Isn't that hilarious? Yes, well, of course you do. That's right, because it's the only way you change anything. People have to argue for something. You argue in one comment in this video for the independence of Scotland, because you somehow value creating a border so you can throw rocks at each other for eternity. Brilliant. But anyway, that's your value, right? It's not intrinsically, it's not factually anything, blah, blah, blah. It can be argued. But it has to be argued. Yes, that's right. That's the way it has to be, is argued. Sensibly. That seems like the way that you get other people to understand the need for something, is to argue it. Shit.
That that's the value you hold.
Yeah, value you hold. They don't hold that value. They hold the premise value, the premise understanding that there's a difference, a substantial difference, a huge difference, a biggest difference in the universe difference between the dead cat in one hand and the living cat in the other hand. That's the truth of the universe, is that there's a huge difference between a living sentient being and a non-living, non-sentient being. You can't get any more different in terms of value.
And I'm sorry to break that kind of stuff to you. What it the impact of this is that you simply cannot tell people what values they should possess.
Yeah, this is why people laugh at atheists. You can't tell people what values they should possess. So on the most important subject in the universe, the distribution of value, the distribution of comfort and harm, we should have no opinion. So the religious not say, my God is God, do what I say. You say, there is nothing we can know for sure, therefore you can't say anything about anything. You can't tell me I can't rape. You can't tell me I can't do anything I want to do because your value system is somehow not defendable. And it's just absolute crap because there's no God behind it to smite you. I'm not allowed to say, fuck you. No, I'm allowed to say, fuck you. You're a malicious, evil, sadistic, motherfucking dumb cunt. Okay, and you're a hell of a lot more dangerous than some religious nut trying not to sleep with his neighbor's wife.
Then force them to possess those values, because that would be ludicrous, because there's no justification for your value above another value.
Right, so there's no justification for thinking there's a difference between a dead cat in one hand and a living cat in the other hand. There's no justification. This is atheism. This is what intellectuals do with their brains. So they escape an idiotic delusion that there's a God in the clouds so they can say that a dead cat and a living cat are the same fucking thing. Fucking idiots.
What it means is you have to persuade people of your values was an extremely difficult thing to do.
Yeah, well, apparently it's extremely difficult to explain to atheists, dumb, motherfucking, ignorant, selfish, cunt, bastard, fucking turd atheists, simple little concepts like there's a difference between a dead cat and a living cat.
I mean, it's very lazy. But persuading people of what you believe, persuading people to hold your values, that's difficult.
Well, it's not about holding a value. It's about a rational, logical equation. It's about discovering the truth in the world. That's what all the math is. That's what everything we've done, every statement we make, we're just discovering the truth. Darwin spelled out the argument. You know, this is how life works. You know, the little lizards came onto Galapagos, and there was only, you know, one of them, maybe a pregnant female. She lays eggs. There's a lot of inbreeding. They mutate really quickly, and they adapt to this new environment, and they change a lot. Okay, and that's evolution, and that's how it happens in the over 4 billion years. A bunch of things get isolated, and then they evolve. That's what happens. Yeah, it's a description of reality, and the description of reality is that sentience creates value in the universe. That's the theory. Is that too complicated for you? Sentience creates value. Oh my God, how strange and bizarre. What a weird concept. That the welfare of a feeling thing is important? Huh, that sounds like totally crazy.
You have to first of all understand other people and understand their perspective. And the thing is, in understanding...
Well, whatever. I don't have to do any of that kind of shit as long as we have a good, nice... As long as we have good soldier suits and a big enough cannon, I don't have to understand shit except how to, you know, push the little red button. That's all I gotta understand is how do you push the button that says, oh, fuck you. You're too stupid for my goddamn time. I mean, it'd be more productive for me to sit there and pluck fucking hairs off my big toe than to try to have a conversation with fucking idiots as dumb as you.
Perspective. Your values might change. So again, you know, the tyrannical view of imposing your values upon others seems like an easier way of that kind of.
Well, I don't think it's really a conundrum. I'm not going to change my opinion of evolution, and I'm not going to do a lot of things so you can keep saying, well, everybody's going to change. We don't know anything. We don't know anything. You know, and that's not more pitiful than the religious kook who says, I know this 2,000-year-old book of complete bullshit is the truth. So your non-truth and their fake truth these are the two choices. No, I'll take neither one, and I will recognize that I can logically understand because I can feel. I know what feelings are. I can see them displayed consistently among all these other sentient humans and all these other sentient animals. I can see the cat meow. I can see it say, thank you for some food. That was really good. I can see all of this stuff happening. I don't see any logical inconsistencies. I don't see any, there's no problem of dissonance or confusion. It seems quite obvious that pet is better than smash. I can figure this out.
And to be honest with you, that's the basis of all dogmatism. Believing one's values to be true.
Right, so it's dogmatism, given from on high, the crazy Elmer Fudd theory, okay, that the cat in the right hand and the cat in the left hand have different significance. Being alive and sentient and feeling is different than being dead and useless and materially decomposing.
And it is a core part of antinatalism. It's a core part of it.
Right, it is a dogma. The dogma of evolution. So these are atheists. These are atheists calling evolution dogma, calling the theory that consciousness was created through the process of evolution and that it creates value in the universe, that is dogma. That simple observation that it is a significant phenomenon, that things are sentient and that they have a feeling welfare. That, in his opinion, the atheist opinion, is that's fucking dogma. Bravo, atheists. That's equal sign, the Ten Commandments. It has the same kind of credibility as something just made up 2,000 years ago as a guide for living. Amazing.
Living is not possible price. Your life has to be accountable. You know, there's no need for need to exist. You know, there's no need for there to be a need for need to exist. Oops. Or does it say there needs to be a need for need to exist?
No, it's a simple statement. Okay, that there's no need to create need. We are need machines. Is that complicated? We are need generators. We generate a welfare condition that needs to be improved. Is that too complicated for you? Well, of course it is. You're a fucking dumb cunt atheist.
It's a value. It's a moral prescription you're giving us. A moral prescription.
Yeah, moral prescriptions are. Well, we'll wait for that one, right? So, but again, so this is how these people think. It's a value judgment. There are no such thing as rational value definitions. No such thing in their opinion. So this is exactly all they're doing is saying, I want to molest your children. I want to steal. I want to be a glutton. I don't want to ever feel responsibility. If I want to drink and drive, I want to drink and drive. Fuck you. They're just basically saying you can hold no authority over me, no rational container for my the bounds of my selfishness. You cannot put me in a rational container of restraint, okay, that I'm obligated to give a damn about. Well, fuck you. If I can't do it ethically through conversation, if I can't generate it in your own head as an understanding, okay, then I will try. I will try to make it out of metal and shove it in your fucking face.
Based upon values, and values are generated by sentient brains.
Value is generated by sentient brains. Not values. Value. You just don't get it, do you? No, of course you don't get it. Because you're a fucking dumb atheist.
Sorry. Now, I'm not saying that all value judgments are equal. I'm not saying all opinions are equal.
Well, this is another subjective argument. Yeah, you're certainly capable of saying that we can subjectively say that one subjective impression is more subjectively subjective than another subjective impression. I mean, it's just stupid. Once you declare them subjective, you have to say they're all equal, because you're saying they're not rationally based, asshole.
I value my opinions considerably more than I value yours, for example.
And you do that rationally? You do that by something other than a subjective value? You just said all value is subjective, and now you're going to say that your subjective impression, that your own opinion is somehow more substantial than everybody else's, is somehow based on something other than your subjectivity? I mean, yeah, I am God. I'm the atheist who has now declared myself God, because I don't have a subjective, retarded moon rock impression of my own competence. I have a dogmatic, God-given authority to tell you that I'm right and you're wrong, not because I'm got any logical consistency in my bullshit, but just because I think so. Fuck you.
But I would never force you to take my values on board as your own.
Oh, right, unless it was your kids that were in the frying pan. I mean, just, something you valued was at stake, so don't tell me you wouldn't. What a crock of fucking shit. You would if something you valued was being fucking sucked, was being abused, was being harshly destroyed or annihilated. You would fucking fight, you stupid cunt, so just lie again. If your testicle was in the frying pan, you'd goddamn do something about it. You are an idiot. You are an idiot.
Some of them, like, don't rape and murder and stuff like that, I mean, those kind of values, I don't feel too bad if I coerce them upon people, right? I don't feel. Do you know why?
I don't feel too bad. So I'm going to just say, well, yes, it's hypocrisy that I make those value judgments, but I don't mind being a hypocrite. So you're just acknowledging the problem in your own philosophy, that it compels you to be a hypocrite, a grotesque, overt hypocrite. You just hypocrited. Okay, you just hypocrited your pants all over the place. And then you're going to talk about how, oh yeah, I'm doing fine. No! You got a bunch of hypocrisy in your pants, buddy.
Because those kind of things, right, strike so much at the heart of sentience, right? And the reason they do so is because this is probably the closest to universal you'll get in the universe. Sentience applies the highest value to sentience.
Okay. So he's against rape, but he's not against 6-year-olds with cancer. Nature did the 6-year-old with cancer, so that's okay. The DNA molecule did it, so that's okay. We can't judge that. Okay, but if somebody goes out and rapes a 6-year-old, well, now he's going to have a value dilemma. He's going to have hey, I'm judging you, I'm judging that. So he'll judge harm when it's perpetrated by a human being for their own selfish indulgences, but he won't judge harm when it comes from any other source, especially the DNA molecule, because, yeah, he's got that one way up his ass.
Maybe not in all cases, but it seems like the highest value that sentience creates and then attributes is to itself.
Oh, right. So the highest, that's again, more nonsense, right? I mean, that just negates the whole concept of all the the sacrifice that we see in every war, right? The soldier who jumps in front of the bullet for his buddy because, you know, he knows he's got a wife and kids and all that shit, and he knows he's just a loser and a drunk, and so he says, okay, I'll eat the bullet this time, blah blah blah. So again, this isn't the truth. We don't value ourselves the most. We value our kids, our relations, other people we care about. We jump on a grenade for any of them. So again, more bullshit, more nonsense. And why do we value them? Because they have a welfare and we don't want it harmed, because we know the harm is bad. Duh.
And rape and murder is an affront to sentience. And that's why people...
It's an affront to sentience. What the hell does that mean? It's an affront to sentience. What does that mean? It doesn't mean a damn thing. There's animals right now raping and murdering. There's a lion killing the cubs of the previous king. Okay? Where's the affront to anybody's sentience? There's no affront to sentience in his behavior and his psychology and anything. It's a purposeful act for some sort of accomplishment genetically, to maintain some sort of genetic purity. It has some disgusting purpose, but it has a fucking purpose. But there's no affront to sentience. Okay? Lots of animals commit rape all over the goddamn place. There's no affront to sentience. Okay? They commit harm all the fucking time. They eat other animals. There's no affront to their sentience. So again, this value equation has to come to you logically. It will not come through some sort of, it is innately, my sentience says it's innately wrong. Bullshit.
Well, value it so won't. Right. And to be honest with you, I don't have a problem coercing against people when it comes to these things.
Right, so just another hypocrisy. I'll just declare my hypocrisy. Here's a huge conflict. I'll just make a whole video arguing a premise, and then I'll violate the premise at the end of the video. But never mind. Don't pay any attention to that. That's just a detail. That's just a detail. The gigantic, huge flip-flop hypocrisy. Just a detail. No, ignore that. Not important. Yeah, this is why people laugh at atheists. Some value code. I'll just make it up as I go along. I'll just rub my cheek and say, well, is it good to eat a cat today? Huh? What do you say, cheek? Maybe I'll throw some bones on the ground and see what the bones have to say. Because I'm an atheist and I can't think logically. I have to throw bones. I'll trust the bones to tell me whether I should step on the cat.
When it comes to things like having babies, I mean, that is, well, to put, like, preventing people from killing on the same level as preventing somebody from procreating is an incredible level of stupid. And that...
Yeah, we'll prove it with an argument. Look, people owned slaves for hundreds of years. They thought this was normal behavior. Oh, they're better off in a controlled environment because they're too silly to be on their own anyway. And, they get their 3 squares. Well, 1 square a day. And, they're 15 hours. Well, so, okay, maybe it's a little long for a work day. But, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're better off. Okay, they don't have fleas and ticks and all that kind of stuff. And we keep them a little bit clean and healthy. So, yeah, they're better off. So that rationalization hung around for hundreds of years because people were assholes. And so you're going to say that having babies is somehow intrinsically reasonable and rational thing to do. It's completely rational to selfishly say, I want to have a little human being so he can entertain me. So he can do little bouncy things, and he can walk and fall down, and I go, ha, 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 ha. And I can say little cutieisms that will entertain me. It's going to be better than television. It'll throw stuff up, and little ploop will fly out of its butt, and it'll be all smelly, and I'll go, ha, 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 ha. Because it's going to be fun. And it's going to be me. I will now live forever because I had a little fucktard. And that kind of logic isn't somehow just as deplorable as the slave rationalization. It's just a rationalization. And now you're just going to defend rationalizations, which is the same thing the religious cunts do. They just defend with rationalizations why humans need values. If the God doesn't tell them what to do, they're just going to be terrible heathens. Probably 90% of religious fucktards don't believe God exists, but they believe human beings need values. And so their rationalization is that without God, people turn into assholes. And you are the evidence of the asshole they turn into.
It's coming into tyranny
Tyranny.
in my opinion.
I'll tyranny, though, when I want to.
And the thing is, what's funny is, most people's opinion as well. And what's
Well, most people's opinion as well. Most people think Scottish are ignorant, stupid retards that need to be controlled by the British. They need to be put on a leash because they're so fucking dumb. Okay, that's why they don't let them free. It's because they're stupid and smelly. And they have to keep them in the cage because they're dumb fucking animals. I agree with that, by the way. It's for their own good. They're too stupid to let loose.
funny is, you guys are never going to be able to persuade people or terrorize and tyrannize people into believing.
Oh, we're never going to be able to blah, 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 blah. Again, let's not forget the truth that it's a 15% of the human population that's maintaining the existence of the human race. 15%. And they're the dumbest, smelliest, stupidest, fucktardiest of the human race. And you're going to tell me that I have no hope? No, I'm afraid you have no hope, fuckwit. You are as doomed could goddamn be. And all anti-nihilism is doing is offering you a parachute. And you assholes are saying, no, I can fly the plane. It has no wings. I can fly the plane. I'll land the plane. No, you won't. You'll crash the plane as an arrogant asshole denying reality. That's right. With goddamn hypocrisy in your pants. A big pile of hypocrisy in your pants. You will not fly the plane. You will not land the plane. You will not do the human race any goddamn favors. You will crash and burn it because you are a dumb, motherfucking, cunt, selfish bastard. You're an atheist. Bravo!
It's not going to happen. You guys don't even understand how values work. You don't understand how other people's minds work. You don't even understand how your own mind works.
I'm rubber, you're glue, fucknut. Okay, you haven't made any argument here. Your argument was, I'm a hypocrite. That was your fucking argument, shithead.
Right? What chance have you got? Nothing. So we're just left with.
Oh yeah, again, says the mighty great text thinking computing machine. The great text computing machine that can't even figure out he just committed a grotesque hypocrisy right in everybody's face. Okay, I mean, he just fucking hypocrisied his pants right in front of everybody, and he's going to tell everybody about how, I know how to use the toilet. No, you don't, retard.
You value your values more than other people's values, and that's it.
Oh, whatever. I value my logic more than other people's logic. That's the truth of it, okay? This mine's fact-based logic, and theirs is fucktard-based logic. Bullshit-based, nonsense-based. I can't tell the difference between living cat that feels and dead cat that doesn't feel. No, subjective difference. Yeah. It's only subjective.
You value making these statements and believing what you believe.
Yeah, whatever. I have confirmed. That's right. I've logically tested my views against idiot like you views or religious nut or some other fuckwit, and I said, "Oh my God, they're fucking idiots." Yeah, that's all I've done. And then I've gone through all my beliefs. Oh, is evolution wrong? No, can't be wrong. I mean, all the evidence is right there. Does evolution God? No, evolution isn't God. DNA isn't God. No, it doesn't have a brain. I've done all the examining. I can't find the flaw anywhere in this shit. And certainly you're not pointing it out with the fucking hypocrisy in your pants. I mean, that isn't a really effective argument. Here's some hypocrisy from inside my pants. Does that convince you? No, it doesn't convince me.
Very valuable for you.
Oh, pitiful. It's just awful. Jesus Christ. It is funny. I mean, you know, this guy is funny in a lot of ways. He's funny looking, he's funny talking, and it is kind of funny watching somebody dump a load of hypocrisy right in their pants, right in front of you. You're just like, holy shit! Did you see what he just did? Man, you know. What the hell was that? I remember as a kid, I was in a sandbox, and the kid dumped a big dump, you know, and the turd was flying out of his shorts. It was just sticking out of his shorts. It's like, holy crap. Actually, I didn't say holy crap, but it is funny, right? Holy crap, because it was like, what the fuck? You know, it was fucked up. Anyway, this is conveying a little story from youth. So anyway, till next time, and such.